So for the Doomslayer, we have a lot of stuff to go over. Right, we're gonna go over his lifting strength, durability, attack potency, speed. Yeah, here's just the trailer, the Fight Like Hell cinematic that came out a few weeks before the game released. So we can see some displays of his abilities here. I'm going to be analyzing some of them in certain sections, but first off, for his lifting strength, we know that at the beginning of 2016, he struggles to break out of these chains before he gets his Praetor suit. Now, they do have runes and, like, magic symbols on them, so it's not the best anti-feat. However, it is stated that Olivia Pierce does use normal iron and steel for her constructions, so it's not clear just how much stronger these chains got. And it's also hard to quantify. But it does prove, however, that the Doomslayer has finite lifting strength. And there's a lot more feats to go over that prove that as well. Here it is, just him struggling slightly to get out of there. Now, he does constantly throughout, like, all of 2016 in these cutscenes, he does struggle to open these jammed blast doors. It's hard to actually quantify how much they weigh, but obviously it's not finite for or infinite force, right? It's obviously finite. And they are cutscenes, right? It's not just gameplay. You can't cope and say, "Oh my god, it's just gameplay." Right? These are very obvious cutscenes and animations. But yeah, we see him struggle with other objects too. Right? Applying effort to overcome and overpower some enemies. What he's breaking, whatever this thing is, I don't even know. But he also applies some effort to flip over arachnotrons, which are like car-sized objects. Well, the dimensions are closer to that of a tank. However, they're nowhere near as solid as a tank. So I wouldn't take that as an exact weight statement. It would be physically impossible for them to weigh that much. But we do know they are bigger than gladiators, and we can calculate their weight. Scaling up from a gorilla, you can get, like, I think almost 5,000 pounds for how tall these things are. And we also see Doomslayer struggle to lift up this, or not struggle, but apply some effort to lift up this gladiator mace or hammer. That proving he's not, like, that much stronger than the gladiator. But yeah, these guys weigh 5,000 pounds, over 2 tons. So yeah, he is able to rip out spines, but again, that's really hard to quantify. And he does struggle with this door as well in Dark Ages. You can see him strain, apply a lot of strenuous effort to pry open. And we can directly measure this door using his height, right? He's about 6'4", and we can get 15 to 16 feet tall and 15 feet wide. And he also gets overpowered by the witch, so it's kind of hard to say, oh, he has infinite strength. It's like, okay, does the witch have infinite strength as well? You just have to upscale everything, which is ridiculous. Yeah, we can directly measure this door to be about 13 tons of force using a 0.4 coefficient, assuming this thing is solid steel and solid wood, half steel. The door is a lot heavier than the force he has to output, though, because the concrete that he's not fully lifting it, he's just pushing it. Again, he applies effort here. To be fair, he's a lot weakened here because he's basically a zombie. So he just literally just died. And then we know he chooses to use levers in cutscenes, which doesn't really make any sense if he could lift the earth. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is just debunking the hyperbolic statement in Dark Ages with the Dread Mace, right? Which we only know that he can lift based off the cutscenes as well, so the cutscenes are reliable. Now, going into AP and durability, we know that Doomslayer can basically just negate like all fall damage. Seen right here. This is before he even gets the Praetor suit. And he basically just no-sells this attack. And then we know he can also just launch himself out of these massive cannons at like supersonic speeds. I think it was calculated at like Mach 1 to Mach 1 point something. Is the speed that he rammed into it, taking like no damage. They used his weight and the speed to get the kinetic energy. And they got like 17 to 18 megajoules. Yeah, 17.4 megajoules, which is wall level plus. And he takes no damage whatsoever. However, we know that they did defeat him by dropping a temple on him, which is, makes sense because the Praetor suit is not fully invincible, right? It's only nearly impervious to what they tested it on, which we don't know what they tested on with, so. This is him when he was just a human, basically. And he can just already kick through walls and rip apart demons. Yeah, he could just punch straight through them. To be fair, he does have Berserk mode in the comics, so. We know that with the Praetor suit and the Divinity Machine, he can just punch these massive train carts, which should be about 6 million joules. I think 6 megajoules. Yeah, it's like a 50-ton train cart pushed at like 30 miles per hour or something like that. So yeah, wall level. He does this pretty casually. And we know that he can also destroy these cracked, massive chains. Right? And the Titans were pulling on them. And again, that's tensile strength versus sheer strength. It's already cracked from them pulling on it. But yeah, the Titan's striking strength is also calculated at like building level regardless. So it's consistent. So he's just attacking this chain, should be wall level. This is also consistent with his ability in Dark Ages right here, which is building level. Then we also have in Cultist's base. This mission, he can punch these giant cubes. And we can figure out the density of them using these cubes in Taurus Nabat. I think this is what the mission is. That he struggles to... he struggles slightly to push these ones, like they move slower. So using the density of those, which is buoyant, we get about, I think, 60 tons for the weight of this, like over 100,000 pounds, which would be wall level, pushing it at 18 meters per second. We also know that, demons can be hurt and blitzed by normal 50 caliber rounds that use just normal ammunition. This is from the 2016 guidebook where it says pinky demons, mancubuses, and possessed soldiers can all be killed by these normal bullets. And it says contact your supervisor for more training. So it's the whole book is about the canon, right? It's not gameplay. The chain gun has, physical limits stated. Its speed is directly stated to be around Mach 4. 5,000 under 5,000 feet per second. We can directly calculate the energy using the 15 millimeter rounds it uses. It should be around 60 kilojoules, I believe. And the shotgun as well, we can calculate it. It would be around wall level. However, it's stated that he can imbue his weapons with his own argent energy, his own power and essence. So that increases the damage that it does. So let's just look at the actual feats of what it can do, because it does things like destroy tentacles and destroy demons that wouldn't be possible if it was just a normal shotgun. And also, even if you calculate it normally, it's still way more powerful than a normal shotgun. But yeah, it can destroy these giant tentacles. It should be around 10 to 11 million joules, which is wall level plus. Yeah, 12 megajoules to destroy this entire tentacle. And the Gauss cannon as well is a normal weapon. It's like wall level when you calculate the fletchets moving at Mach 5. But yeah, it would just scale to the physical strength of the Doomslayer, since Hugo Martin did say that. It also has some upgrades as well where it can cause more explosive damage, but there's nothing too crazy with the Gauss cannon that's even worth noting, though. Its normal stats are kind of bad, but at least it's a fast weapon. Doomslayer also has other weapons like the pistol, which is also relatively weak. It doesn't have great feats. It has a 4 megawatt capacity, which would be just like wall level at most when you do the pulse duration calculations. It's also just not that great like in game. It can like destroy the heads of demons, of like the weak demons, the zombie ones, which is only wall level. This is the 4 megawatt calculation too, using the pulse duration. And then there's also the BFG and the rocket launcher. The BFG is way better, so I mean, I would assume that he would be using that in the fight against Master Chief. So yeah, the BFG is 7,000 degrees, 7,000 Kelvin, according to the handbook, and about 300 pounds. So, and it also uses like it also targets Argent Energy. It targets onto Argent Energy, but I don't really know if it does the same for like organic targets, but I'll just assume it does. This is obviously way different than the BFG 10,000, which uses a magnification array to amplify the energy of the normal BFG 9000, right? It's directly stated it uses a magnification or a magnifying array to increase the output. So yeah, this would obviously not scale to the normal BFG, which has like small building attack potency feats at best. Like right here with in 2016, the prototype BFG was able to completely pulverize the head of the Spider Mastermind. And if you calculate this cylinder shape of iron and steel in the middle, and you do the shear strength, or the uniaxial compressive strength of the material, you get small building level, about 700 million joules, so 700 megajoules. Now, Doomslayer also gets stunned and completely paralyzed by this electric system that Samuel Hayden uses. Now, he's not using all of the energy, but he's using enough to contain the Doomslayer, which we know is a small portion to, actually affect him, because here he gets stunned by like very small amounts. Yeah, it's 2.4 terawatts of electricity, and that would be like 500 tons of TNT per second, but that's the whole system. He's obviously not taking that whole energy. But yeah, it's completely able to just immobilize him immediately. And it also is able to open portals like a tether. So yeah, he's also able to absorb and redirect the energy of these Hayden accumulator spheres, whatever they're called, which have like 30,000 or 12,000 megawatt hours. Now, it's not like an explosion, obviously. It's just rerouting the power to a system to use it for stamina, storage, and other upgrades. And it's basically, if you look at the codex, it says that this is meant to power systems for months, easily with like excess energy. So yeah, this wouldn't be like a direct durability feat. But yeah, it still proves that his suit has a lot of energy in it. Yeah, here's the 12,000 megawatt hours, the 30,000. Now, the Hayden spheres can store a lot more than that. Like in the petajoule range. These are like in the terajoule range. But still, it's just energy storage to power his electric systems, which are, they use like capillary tubes and argent dissipators to do this. But yeah, Hayden like directly says that Doomslayer, he and Doomslayer will not survive the meltdown. And we know these are always measured in just like finite values, like the 2.4 terawatt portal, right? So none of this is like actually higher dimensional stuff. Even if the energy comes from a different dimension, that would just be extra dimensional, not, higher geometry or spatial dimensions or anything like that. And we also see that this tethered, I forgot what they call it, but this thing that he has on his chest in Dark Ages is rigged to an explosive device, which will explode, obviously, if he tries to remove it. But yeah, these guys are just able to completely contain the Doomslayer. And yeah, we also know that the Doomslayer couldn't survive the meltdown, obviously, so he had to be teleported away. He was never in direct contact to it, and even if he was, it would be very, very, very brief, because 2.4 terawatts and like the energy needed to create a tether to hell is very, very low compared to the output of that million degree core, or it's actually up almost 2 million degrees for its peak temperatures. But yeah, no, that's way too much heat for him. And the 2 megakelvin laser thing is just a fan theory. If you actually look at the things he's been burnt by, like this in the cinematic that came out a few weeks before the game, he literally gets burnt by a simple lost soul, which is weaker than 7,000 degree BFG. So yeah, he's able to be burnt by that. And this is stated to be the most powerful weapon, so you can't really argue the lost soul is like secretly hotter. There's no evidence of that. And the Crucible has a interesting amounts of like misinformation online about it. Now, it's never actually stated to like store all of Earth's energy at once. It's actually like a battery. And it only stores, there is a feat where it stores like 2.4 terawatts, or not stores, generates 2.4 terawatts to sustain the system of Doomslayer's base, which houses Vega. To be fair, Vega is very nerfed, but still, that would be 2.4 terawatts. Now, Earth today operates on about 3 terawatts of energy for its electric grid. So this would be consistent with it being almost enough to power Earth at once, but also like Samuel Hayden wanted to make excess energy. He used it as an argent conductor. These are also directly stated and shown to shut down the nervous systems of Titans to make sure they don't regenerate or respawn. They never really explain, but they very clearly shut down their brains and their whole body. And yeah, like, you also get the Icon of Sin, which the Crucible was used on, but before that even happened, people are saying, oh, this guy's universal, he's planetary. Well, if you actually watch the cutscenes, he is not even able to destroy the skyscraper when he slams into it. And that's because if you actually read the codex, like a lot of Doom winkers, they don't really like doing that, you would understand that he eventually, the Icon of Sin would turn into a black hole, right? And he would consume the Earth and the universe surrounding Earth when the black hole eventually happens, when he stays on Earth too long. Now, if I disarm or defuse or whatever you call it, a nuke that's city level or town level, that doesn't mean that I'm town level. Like, very obviously stopped it from happening. So Doomslayer simply killed the Icon of Sin, or at least shut him down or whatever, with the Crucible, with this huge electric surging system after, spamming power weapons at him. And then the black hole never happened. So I don't know how he would scale to it. It would just be like an association fallacy to assume anything else or to argue otherwise. And yeah, here's the quote. Yeah, I mean, it just says the Slayer stood against them. That's it. And here is the feat for the Crucible for that 2.4 terawatts estimate that it has. It's able to... It does slowly power the systems, but I would just count it anyways, just to be generous. The Doom scaling, yeah, it's at least 2.4 terawatts if it's able to sustain Vega. And we know the pulse duration is 33 milliseconds, so you get about city block level. Obviously, the performance would greatly depend on how long it's on its target, though. Yeah, it's able to slay Titan class demons through the methods we already talked about. It's able to, crush the divide and help Doomslayer conquer realms because it's the only weapon that can shut down these huge titans. It's not actually like ripping a universe apart. It's just really dumb, and there's no evidence of that. Yeah, here's in Dark Ages with his worse armor. He is post-Divinity Machine, though, so he is still the Doomslayer. But here is him running away from this town-level nuke, even though he's kilometers away from it. So yeah, there's a lot of anti-feats for Dark Ages Doomslayer. Now, he did go to the Cosmic Realm. Now, there's issues with this weird kind of like battle boarding versus battles, power scaling metas or arguments, and like the misunderstanding of dimensionality. Now, here he kills the old one using the BFC, which again has a city block calculation, large building the city block calculation, even when it exploded like directly onto a tower. So I mean, unless you like upscale all these things to universal, it just really doesn't make any sense. And the physical body of the old one is, not universal. There's no evidence of that. It just said that like he dreamed the cosmic realm together and held it together, right, with his psychic powers. Yeah, and we just basically see Doomslayer get knocked out by falling inside the old one with all this debris falling on him and the impact. But anyways, Hugo Martin never actually said that there's higher geometric dimensions causing, these weird, attributes that people try to claim the cosmic realm has. Even if he did, it wouldn't matter because the Doomslayer doesn't scale to it. However, if you do look at the quote and the question the fan asked, it doesn't say what the wiki says it does. He doesn't actually say any of these things. It's actually the fan saying all these things. And Hugo Martin says, we're just looking into Lovecraftian elements. We're trying to tap into the H.P. Lovecraft side of things. And then he mentions some of the books that he read. But yeah, it's just very disingenuous to pretend like he was actually affirming everything the question said. And that somehow, like, we're going to use all the Lovecraftian stuff and just pretend like Doomslayer scales within that kind of cosmology. That's just not... It's not really a proper conclusion, just a very hasty conclusion. But anyways... the statement where hell is unlimited by the boundaries of space, time, and dimension, we can just apply an equal interpretation here, right? Boundaries of space, right? We know that hell grows when it consumes other dimensions or parallel universes. We know that these are parallel universes because Hugo Martin directly says that they can connect to Earth and Urdak on a map, and there's only one version of hell, which would explain the timeless description, not limited by the boundaries of time, right? It's just because it's not limited by timeline, right? Because hell has multiple timelines, and Earth, hell doesn't have multiple timelines, but Earth does, and Urdak does. I guess that by dimensions you mean universes. Again, he's just saying, again, and he says, yes, Hugo Martin confirmed that these are parallel universes that, they use quantum shifting, which is mathematically impossible, if they are, have higher geometry. It literally explains in the codex that they're not actually higher geometry. It explicitly says that Urdak and Jakad use quantum shifting technology to invert their mathematical position on a plane. So yeah, they'd have to be parallel. But anyways, here's just Hugo Martin saying that, has an orientation on a map relative to Earth. By dimension, he means universe. Again, timeless does not literally mean it has no time. We know there's historical events that happen. We know they literally measure time there. We've seen it multiple times. Urdak is not actually 6D. Sixth dimension is just a numerical order of events, right? Or time, like naming a planet or something like that, right? That's equal interpretation. We know that he literally has a topographical map on screen. So I don't know how it would be possible to map out a 6D dimension on a topographical map that the intern is explicitly using to help Doomslayer. Is the intern 62? Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, it's just explained that it's quantum shifting, not literal higher geometry. So when they say higher dimension, they just mean on a map. And there can also be other equal interpretations. The old one, he just gets killed by a mech suit after being resurrected into a weaker form. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone's trying to use this for scaling. So it just says that he literally is stripped of chaotic divinity. But yeah, Doomslayer has a rigged explosive device in his armor, according to Thera, I believe. And when he tries to pull it out because he's trapped by the jailers, which are featless, by the way, it explodes the rock. Well, it breaks the shield, and then the rock lasts longer than it, implying the rock is actually more durable, or at least anchoring the shield. And we can directly measure how much rock was destroyed using the shear strength of the strongest rock I could find on the charts for shear strength. I believe like 200 or 300 MPa, something like that. Yeah, we just use pixel scaling, very simple pixel scaling to get the dimensions of this cylinder. We can conclude that it would be around 5.5 tons of TNT or 23 gigajoules, which is large building level. It's also consistent with pushing back those huge jailers. They're like 180 feet tall. So yeah, the kinetic energy is consistent. The henchman was able to defeat the Doomslayer. There's context to this. Something about Azrak's blade weakening him and also using his pain and past against him. I haven't really looked into it. I don't use this as an anti-feat, a traditional anti-feat. I just use it as a narrative device to explain why the Praetor suit is being granted to the Doomslayer and why it has to be made. It implies that there are threats that he can face that threaten his durability, meaning there's no logical way to argue that his skin and biological durability is on par with the protection the Praetor suit offers, because narratively he gets defeated, then the Praetor suit is granted to him by the Wretch, or at least made. So yeah, we just see that he gets knocked out by this fall, brutally injured, and then he has to be saved by the Wretch. Wrist right here, and then he eventually gets revenge on the henchman. He gets thrown into this pillar. Again, this would just be a wall level impact that he's shrugging off as well. And the henchman tries using the same tactic, I believe, by bringing him to his past, and Doomslayer overcomes it and delivers a very powerful shotgun blast that should be in the wall level range of kinetic energy. You can see this ultimate attack right here. Able to just launch this huge demon. I don't know how much the henchman weighs. It's going to be impossible to calculate that. But that's a lot of energy. But regardless, Solgaroth, the imprisoned, who is explicitly in prison and stuck on a certain sector of the broken cosmic realm structures that are leaking into purgatory, or at least we're always there. There's some confusing parts about that. So yeah, he's imprisoned. It does say he used to have this power, but sadly it does say that he needs to be fully awakened. and he's imprisoned, so that's not the case. And yeah, he was killed by the BFC, which has a city block to large building calculation here. And yeah, it destroyed a large part of that tower. Yeah, Doomslayer does not scale to everything in his verse. That's just a myth. The first time he touches a Wraith God, which is a very weak god, we don't even know how to scale them past, they created continents, I believe. Like, we don't even know, and a bunch of them were there too. So, I mean, I don't know how many there were, but there were a lot of Wraith gods that were, creating Argent Dinur, I believe, for the Sentinels, and they don't really scale that high, and the first time he touched it, he gets paralyzed. He can't move. He's completely in stasis here, and he gets defeated. So, yeah, he doesn't really scale to everything in his verse. That's just like a myth. And he is the Doomslayer here. He has the Divinity Machine upgrades, so you can't use those arguments. And also, they use a small portion of this Wraith energy to power this, what is it called? The Heart of Argent? Or I forget what this artifact is called, but yeah, the missing part is Wraith energy. They figure that out, and Azrak uses it to power himself up, and he goes through multiple stages. We don't know if he's at his final stage, but even if he was, we don't know how powerful the Wraith God physicals are. We have no clue, and clearly by the physicals shown in the cutscenes, they aren't that crazy. Yeah, it says the power of a god would be granted by this, right? The Wraith God, logically. And this is from the Witch. I'd say that she's reliable. And they believe it's enough to kill the Doomslayer. And it almost was, right? They injured him with that spear. Again, small orb-shaped portion of the Wraith energy. And yeah, he gets overpowered by Azrak and stabbed. However, Doomslayer does get back and kill Azrak. I believe this is in his second form. Unless he grows into another form. I don't remember. But yeah, Doomslayer is very obviously struggling with this, and I don't know how to calculate any of this stuff above wall level. Like, the fight's really not that crazy. I mean, you would have to upscale the fact that Azrak has to defend himself against this scorching fire, yet the soil is able to survive. It just proves that, these attacks are not that insane. Yeah, he kills the Sarat, the dragon character, dragon pet, whatever, with this blade. And then Doomslayer just gets mad and gets back up, basically. But yeah, I mean, again, the fire, the soil or rock or whatever the ground is made out of, you'd have to upscale the rock to the same degree that Azrak is, unless you're saying that Azrak shielded himself from fire when he knows that he is able to survive, like all the nukes on the planet and, universe is exploding. If he knew he could do all these random things that there's no evidence for in the first place, then why would he be defending himself against fire? Now, the fire is pretty impressive, but it's not, the thermal black body radiation is most certainly not even above wall level, let alone like universal or multiversal. But yeah, we look at this cutscene, and he just, beat the fuck out of Azrak and broke his arm in that strike. The Doomslayer then takes the Wraith energy out of Azrak, and Azrak survives this, but just reverts back to his original form. And I believe after this happens, the ship that is containing the coffin of right here with Thera. I think that Thera regains consciousness, I believe. And then they get blown away, which is a convenient time for Azrak to get away. And then, yeah, this explosion is this distant explosion is able to affect the Doomslayer, another anti-feat for his kinetic resistance. One of these like guard prince guys, whatever you would call one of these guys, I forget their names, offers Doomslayer enhanced powers and abilities, which makes no sense if this guy is, able to destroy everything in existence, with able to kill outer beings or whatever people say. But yeah, he destroyed the father's life sphere, and he took Devoth's life sphere. Yeah, no, the father's life sphere is explicitly said that the father stole the power from Devoth, and then the father did this to prevent Devoth from ever regaining power again, gaining back those infinite powers according to Seraph's Part 3. So yeah, Doomslayer is not, there's no evidence that even if the life sphere had all this power in it, that destroying it would mean you scale to it, right? Just like an infinity stone, just because you destroy it doesn't mean you scale to it. That's just an assumption that you would scale to it. In the Ancient Gods DLC, Devoth believes that the life sphere could return him to his full faculties. Now, the issue with this is that he was imprisoned for 10 decillion years, and he doesn't know that the father actually absorbed Devoth's power and stole it to become the new god and usurp him. He doesn't know the specifics of this, and the father in Seraph's Part 3 directly says that in order for Devoth to actually gain infinite power back, he would have to actually go to the father and steal it from the father, right, himself, which is not possible because also in Seraph's Part 3, right under that, he says that he discarded from the physical realm to make sure that never happened, to make sure that Devoth never regained that power. So yes, the intern directly mocks Devoth's statement. He says he clearly doesn't know what you did in the swamp back there, right? So Devoth thinks the Doomslayer is trying to help him at first, right? And the intern directly mocks that because, again, the whole goal is to give him his physical form in the Luminarium so they can kill him because they want to end the Hell Invasion, which is, orchestrated and controlled by Devoth because he is a hive mind. He controls the demonic hive mind in Hell. So again, if you kill him, that would discard his life orb across the stars, which would make sure that the connection that the demons have is no longer there. But yeah, here's Seraph's Part 3 just directly saying that Devoth's power is no longer in the life orb, right? We can conclude it's no longer in there because otherwise, why would the father say that he would discard from the physical realm to make sure Devoth never regained the power if the power was always just in the life orb that he could just get immediately after getting resurrected? Why would he do that? Why wouldn't the father just stay? If it was the case that two life orbs are there and both of them have infinite power, it doesn't make any sense. You would have to argue the father doesn't know that he's just dumb and he just let Devoth gain full power, even though explicitly in Seraph's Part 3, he said that's his whole goal was to prevent Jakad from, becoming more powerful and Devoth from gaining back his infinite powers. Now, we can just see he's using a Mexu in the fight, and he mentions that his power was stolen. Now, he also says he wants to destroy all of creation, and that he is going to destroy all of creation after killing Doomslayer. Now, the issue with this is obviously the fight scene itself. Yeah, we see Devoth get hurt by the punches of Doomslayer, which don't even cause any damage, even after they emit shockwaves to the road itself on Earth. And another glaring issue is the fact that Devoth has no way of gaining power on his own unless he gains it through, consuming power from others, right? He can't just even if he was growing infinitely in power, like I've heard some people claim, it wouldn't really prove that he has this level of power when we have so many anti-feats and even author statements to say otherwise. Yeah, and there's another huge issue if you want to upscale the speed of these characters to some crazy wank, right? We just see lightning moving faster than Devoth in the background and the Kako demons moving faster than him, which, only have subsonic calculations to begin with. So, yeah, no, the fight overall just disproves all the scaling. So the lightning is just moving many magnitudes faster than Devoth, making Devoth just purely subsonic when he slams his shield into the ground to teleport you. But we also see that he can, you know, teleport you across to different areas and dimensions. None of this is reality warping. I don't know where that conclusion comes from, but regardless, Doomslayer punches and injures Devoth with these shockwaves that can't even destroy the ground, which is just rock and grass. So I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know how this could even scale that high. I don't know how that scales above wall level, but whatever. We know that, his essence is now scattered amongst the stars. So this would just cause every demon to disintegrate. Like I said, no contradiction here. Just his essence is controlling the hive mind, and it links them to hell. The gates of hell are closed. And since Doomslayer is also powered by hell and powered by Argent energy, which again is soul energy, it causes him to faint because his connection to hell is also severed. And he was also created by Devoth. And the connection to the dark realm is severed and scattered across the stars. And if you kill the Dark Lord, then all demons that are not in hell will die. So Devoth just directly says that his power was stolen. Directly says this in the fight. And a fan did ask about the destruction. Devoth said he wanted to destroy all of creation. He said he was going to destroy all of creation after killing Doomslayer, right? This all ends starting with you, I believe I don't know the exact quote. But Hugo Martin directly answers his fan's question. If these threats are these empty threats, or these exaggerations, are these things going to happen in the future? Hugo Martin directly answers, and he says that Devoth has limitations, and he doesn't know the exact limitations of Devoth. So what Hugo Martin says is, he says, I don't know. Or the fan says, is Devoth really this powerful? And then Hugo Martin says, it's to be determined the exact limitations of Devoth's power. And then he says, I don't know. I don't know that Devoth could destroy all of Earth even if he wanted to. So the creator of the character doesn't even believe that he can destroy Earth even if he wanted to, right? With all of his technology and everything that he has at his disposal, he couldn't even destroy Earth. It's dubious if he can even do that. So it just wouldn't really make any sense to scale him higher. He's been in prison for a decillion years. He lost all of his power. There's no evidence he gained back his power. The author disagrees with all of the wank. He's never affirmed any of it. The goal of the Doomslayer and the intern was really simple. They just wanted to bring back Devoth's physical form so that they could kill him and end the invasion on Earth. However, we know that when they went to the Luminarium and used the life orb to bring back the physical form, we know this did not actually give Devoth his full faculties. Because if you read Seraph's Part 3, it directly says that the Father has the infinite powers now. And Devoth would have to get the infinite powers from the Father in order to obtain the infinite powers, in order for him to get them back, right? Because it was previously his before the Father stole it. Yeah, so none of that even happened, right? Because Devoth never went to the Father and got the powers from him, so you can't have the powers back. It's impossible. But anyways, Hugo Martin literally says that he planned on Devoth becoming more powerful in the fight. So if we go over combat and travel speed, we know that in the first game, before the Divinity Machine, he could run roughly 42 miles per hour, right? That's 16.6 map units per tick and 35 ticks per second. And 56 map units is the height of the player. And we know he needs help navigating kilometer-long roads and pathways. So his post-Divinity Machine speed would also be in this superhuman range, but below the subsonic range. Now, he's able to dash really fast in short bursts as well, around, I think they got this to 25 or 30 to 50 miles per hour, somewhere around there, 40 to 80 kilometers per hour. I believe this would translate to 50, 48 miles per hour, around there. Yeah, so this will just be in the superhuman range. Nothing crazy. Yeah, we know that a lot of the feats people mention, like rocket running, are just straight up glitches, according to John Romero, the guy who coded the game. And like it literally requires you to strafe run and like walk adjacent to a wall and like rub yourself against it and then like blitz off of it. It's obviously not intended. Master Chief can do the same thing. When he in Halo 2 with the sword, he can like outrun crazy stuff and he could like boost himself to insane speeds. None of it is canon. Halo Infinite has this as well. But yeah, as you can see, he like mentions multiple glitches in here. John Romero literally says that it was unanticipated in the original levels of 1993. He didn't even know about rocket running until a year after the game came out. Before the Divinity Machine, we know that he has like impressive displays of speed, but they're pretty much all just human level and subsonic, aside from when he has Berserk mode activated, but we'll get into that. Anyways, in the Fight Like Hell cinematic that came out like 2 weeks before the game came out, we just like straight up see Doomslayer try to dodge a subsonic Lost Soul fireball, and he gets his armor burnt. And he also struggles to dodge, and he like barely reacts to these missiles even while he's trying to dodge them. And the missiles are very slow because we can actually see how fast his shotgun is, right? Because it takes like 4 frames for the rocket to move to him, but his shotgun moves that same distance in a single frame, meaning these rockets are not even like, they're subsonic. They're not even RPG level, right? Which is also transonic or subsonic. And they're just stated to be conventional missiles and conventional rockets. There's no mention of any magic infinite speed technology, none of that. And here's the shotgun just completely moving the same distance the rocket struggled to move in 4 frames in a single frame. So yeah, I mean, there's no evidence Doomslayer is even a bullet timer. You could use Quake if you want, or wherever this is from. I actually don't know, but you can use this if you want. It's not going to get you anywhere. They're still getting blitzed by rockets. Even in Dark Ages, like if you want to like upscale the Sentinels to stuff too, there's an anti-feat just getting blitzed by rockets. The Marauders, they can perfectly react in 33 milliseconds consistently. Like it doesn't even matter. The only times they can't is when they're like moving, and they're sprinting at you. But yeah, it's subsonic 33 milliseconds, right? Like 0.03 seconds, I think that is. It's a very fast reaction time. But again, the weapons are all hit scanning game, so you can't claim they did that they reacted to the individual projectiles, since, you know, it's all hit scan. It has no travel time. There's no reaction time because there's no time to speak of. But regardless, Doomslayer does dodge a shotgun in the comics, which would be around 10 milliseconds to dodge, and you can get him almost to subsonic based off that. He was using Berserk mode, so it's a little bit of a high end. But again, you can use like the extended universe stuff too, and you just get like Mach 1 going 30 feet is still 20 milliseconds, nothing crazy. Here's him like dodging this energy blast. Again, we don't know the speed of it. So he can actually like sprint super, super fast in bursts, using like runes and like glory kill abilities, so you could get like 200 miles per hour. And the Marauders just like consistently dodge rocket launchers and projectiles. But we know that like most of the demons, if you're not a Marauder, you're never going to be reacting to bullets. They just get consistently blitzed by like supersonic bullets. And we can go over like the Con Maker, who is just not that fast. She barely reacted to the Doomslayer running up, and we know that Doomslayer has subsonic running speed, so this will just put her reaction time at subsonic. Considering she is barely able to react to this. He already moves like all the way to it by the time she reacts. And you can't say, oh, she didn't want to react, because she's very clearly desperate here, and the icon of sin got released, so... And she literally runs away. So, I don't understand what anyone could say. Right after this, we do also see Doomslayer fall, but I didn't show that here. So every 10,000 years, they have a collective consciousness, and, creates the singularity. Or at least the singularity produces produces con makers, right? So like the singularity is not the con maker itself. That's she is not the singularity. She is birthed from that singularity. She fails to predict multiple things. It's never even stated that she's omniscient. That's just like a misreading of the text. And also, like, when it says that they traveled through space and time, like, okay, they use teleportations and they use an interdimensional highway. So yeah, I mean, you could argue like they also got their wings taken away by the father. But even if you don't, I mean, I don't even think that there's evidence that they can move at infinite speeds. And even if they could theoretically, like in travel speed, move at crazy speeds, we clearly see in the cutscene that this Mach 1000 lightning is moving instantly. It takes like 2 frames to hit the ground. So it's moving like 10,000 plus feet while she's only moving 1 foot, meaning she's like 10,000 times slower than it. And again, that's in the cutscene, so you don't even have to, like, if you're trying to claim that it's like gameplay, no, it's in the cutscene. And yeah, moving through time and space is a thing a lot of characters could do. It's not that crazy. These meteors are fired from like 2 kilometers up, so they'd hit a decent portion of their terminal velocity. We know the explosion radius is very small, indicative of like a small building level anti-tank explosion, which would not be possible if these things were actually supersonic or hypersonic due to kinetic energy. The real speed of that they would be is 200 to 400 miles per hour. So yeah, Doomslayer, even if the meteors were Mach 6, it would only give Doomslayer subsonic reaction time. But again, they're not Mach 6. They're below the speed of sound, because he can dodge them at about 19 feet away. So that would not be above subsonic. But anyways, if we're going to get into Master Chief, we should first, show this from Forward Unto Dawn, where he, reacts to very fast, like hypersonic or supersonic plus needle shards. We also see him react to shrapnel here. And he is in very, very, very primitive Mjolnir armor, Mark IV. This isn't even Mjolnir armor, according to Halsey, I'm pretty sure. She doesn't even consider it the same thing. That's how bad it is. But regardless, let's just go over lifting strength first. So we obviously know the 3x body weight statement, which is in a non-specified type of lift. We know that they have better feats. Like right here, this is not a better feat. This would just be, if anything, right here is kind of like proving that he has limits. I don't want to pretend like they could lift that much at 14, but there is some good feats like pulling up these giant like metric ton mech suits that have like cannons on their back using ropes, which would at least put them in like the class 5 lifting strength range. I believe these things 300 kilograms plus 600 kilograms or whatever it was is like, yeah, so this would put them at over a ton of lifting strength. And we also know that Spartan 4s, while they're in Gen 2, can like lift up elites which weigh over 1,000 pounds. We know George kind of struggled here. He had no power output, obviously. Same thing with Spartan 4, because when you take off the helmet, there's no connection to the PZ layer of strength amplification. So he's straight up just lifting over a metric ton of weight on his body with his unassisted body. We also know that Brutes can just tear apart metal indoors. However, there is some struggling here, but we know that, like, in the Et2 Brutes, whatever it's called, I forget, like, the studio thing that they released, they struggle with, or at least apply effort to, like, 2 tons of force. And Spartan 2s in Fall of Reach could overpower and tackle these giant mech suits, like I said earlier, the exoskeleton suits, which weigh or can lift over almost 5,000 pounds, which would put them like 2.4 tons on Reach, because Reach has 8% higher gravity, so it's going to be a little heavier. Brutes and grunts can rip off human limbs. However, the force for that is not as high as you think. And also, grunts are very weak. So, Versus Battle says, oh, it's like 30 tons of force to rip off arms. That's not true. And also, even if it was, that doesn't even correlate to lifting. Or it doesn't even determine lifting. These Promethean armigers can just chuck people at like super high speeds, and Master Chief can just brutalize them effortlessly. So again, Master Chief can do that as well. Spartan 2s, even in like Mark 5 and Mark 4, in the Cole Protocol, or I guess it's Halo Envoy actually, they're just able to throw Sharkoids, which weigh 7 tons, 14,000 pounds, just over edges. They can literally just throw them. And we know that Mjolnir armor can increase by 10 times or more. However, we know like the earlier armors could not do that. But even when they couldn't do it, even when they had a 2 to 5 times multiplier, we see Spartan Cal just straight up lateral raise with one arm a drop pod that weighs like over 2,200 pounds and just chuck it hundreds of meters. Yeah, so Master Chief and Linda just straight up throw these like truck-sized, warthog-sized cargo sleds just over a conveyor belt. Although they do say they like they had to use a lot of effort. Like they said, all of the strength's effort to do this. So yeah, throwing cars is not casual for Spartans. And also, Master Chief gets pinned down by this massive spider machine. And he can also overpower Promethean Knights, who can just chuck warthogs like they're nothing. And it's stated that, you know, Master Chief can just rip people in half. Which, you know, there's not a great amount of, like, empirical calculations on that, but it should be a lot of force. Yeah, Master Chief can just survive, like, 9G deacceleration that doubles and triples, which could be up to 40 tons of force. This was in Mark 4, I believe, when he was 16 in Halo Oblivion. And a injured female Spartan 4 who, like, tore all of the muscles in her body was able to deadlift almost 16 tons worth of a lifeboat and Marines inside. And she does struggle, and she has to use her thrusters to finish the lift. However, she did deadlift it before using her thrusters. And it is considered an impressive feat by other Spartan 4s, so this probably means that Spartan 4s cannot lift that much more than 20 to 40 tons. See, they kind of like say, oh, she's a beast, she was able to do this. So I wouldn't say this is like super casual, even though she was injured. So it's a little unfair. She tore like every muscle in her body, lifting up a huge corridor in the Infinity. But anyways, this would scale to like class 25. But assuming she wasn't injured, she could lift way more. And here's another anti-feat right here. This is in the multiplayer canon cutscenes, I believe. And they struggle to lift up. These are Spartan 4s, obviously, and one of them doesn't even have armor on. So, anyways, Master Chief here gets, like, knocked out by a building falling on him, which would be, like, you know, small building. Well, no, wall level kinetic energy, most likely. And that actually transferred to him. And Linda is able to lift off this large piece of concrete, which has a lot of metal in it too, and if you calculate it, I believe you can get around 20 tons, somewhere around there. Yeah, and she did have to use her, well, not have to, we don't know, but she did use her thrusters to easily lift it. So I don't know how much Gen 2 Linda, Spartan 2 could lift, probably around the 50-ton range based off of these feats. And we see Master Chief like consistently struggle with these doors, but again, we don't know the material layout. We don't know if there's pistons, countermeasures, springs, hollowness, again, like counterweights, perhaps. We don't know anything. Maybe they're being assisted in the lift by the mechanisms. So anyways, 3 Spartans, not including James, were able to push this 6 times 3 times 3 meter monolith, which would be 40 tons of force per Spartan using a 0.7 coefficient of a static coefficient of friction, because it's polished. I think it was polished marble or something like that. But anyways, for the floor, it's made out of pink quartz though, the structure. But we also just see Master Chief struggle a lot to lift this massive bomb. Now the dimensions are calculated. They're calculated similar to the Tsar Bomba, and that was about 30 tons. And the Tsar Bomba was lightly armored compared to the antimatter charge, which is heavily armored in its casing. So logically, it would at least be as heavy as the Tsar Bomba, as we could use that as an analogy or proxy. So again, he's ablating. The spikes are digging into the ground, which would be 1.6 coefficient, meaning it's about 50 tons of force he's struggling with, which matches up with Jeff Easterling saying that he would not rule out lifting tanks for Spartans, although he said that he's not going to do a yes or no. But we know Frank O'Connor before that said Spartans can bench tanks, but again, we don't know what kind of tank he's talking about. And here's the 110-ton feat from Shadows of Reach, the warthog-sized granite boulder. Very basic calculation. There's a lot of other stuff, a lot of other factors there, like he's missing half his leg. He holds it for like enough time to have a full conversation. And also there's an I-beam under it, and there's also a ton of concrete laid on top, and like other materials too. So I would say 110 tons is a fair estimate. Just using the math, right? Granite's density and the volume. But anyways, we know Master Chief just like demonstrates the ability to motivate his own mass at very high speeds, and he's able to just like launch himself up in Halo 4, even after his muscles are like completely fried from cryo sleep, right? Like he just woke up here, and he's still just able to manhandle elites, completely blitzing them. And we know he can also lift these massive doors. And he literally is able to resist and climb during a high G deacceleration, or acceleration, actually. Although right here with this tank moving, it does prove the Arbiter definitely was not able to stop that Scorpion tank, or else he would not run away from it. So I don't think Arbiter scales past 20 to 40 tons. There's no feat supporting that. I think he's definitely below class 50. But here's Master Chief struggling in this maneuver. He just gets hit by a warthog, by the way, which is crazy that he doesn't even get hurt by that. And there's an anti-feat for Cortana's reaction speed too. But anyways, quicksand or mud, whatever this is, I believe it's probably quicksand. Thorn gets completely overwhelmed. However, he does climb out of it, but again, there's no way to calculate that, but it's definitely worth noting that, Spartans are not infinite strength. And we know that we can calculate, you can just like look at the distances that Spartans can jump. It goes from 10 meters for low ends, but then we see like hundreds of feet to hundreds of meters in some feats. But it probably caps around there. But again, you would have to lift a lot of your body weight to do that. A lot more than just your body weight to do that. And he can also wrestle these massive 200-ton vehicles, or at least this is Jerome, or a Spartan on red team doing this in Halo Wars 2. Now, this doesn't mean he can lift these. It's not a lifting feat. However, it is a static force feat where it proves that he can, output massive amounts of tons force, right? So again, the Vulture's also 200 tons. He's able to rattle it. So, I mean, you should be able to generate a significant fraction of the vehicle's static weight, right? So, it's a good feat. The elephant lifting stuff is where, that is definitely where Spartan lifting strength ends, because all of that stuff is high-end. But we just know that Master Chief is completely able to stalemate this Flood tank form, so I don't think the Flood tank forms scale super high in lifting strength, considering Master Chief is just blatantly able to resist his lifting strength right here. However, the Flood juggernauts they're pretty crazy, but there's no direct scaling for them. But I just thought it was worth noting they could throw hunters at hundreds of miles per hour. Atriox can crush Spartan helmets. However, grip strength, crushing strength it's not analogous, or it's a category error from lifting strength. They measure two different things. So it proves he's strong, but again, so he is the strongest brute. That is a fact. But I don't know if you can get him past 110 tons. That's Master Chief's limit. We don't even know if Atriox is that much stronger than Master Chief in terms of lifting strength. But yeah, he is the most powerful brute. He can just chuck and lateral raise 3,000-pound brutes like they're nothing. Just throw them 50 feet away. The Didact was also able to crush a even more durable Mjolnir helmet. But again, I don't know if we have any good evidence that the Didact is that much stronger than Master Chief's lifting strength. We really don't. A lot of it is just assumptions. So yeah, 110 tons, right? Class K, class 100 plus lifting strength for Master Chief in Gen 3. And other armors obviously are going to have worse performance. Not everyone scales to that, because Master Chief is, one of the strongest lifters in his verse. But regardless, if we go over attack potency and durability, we just know that Master Chief can already, at 14 years old, without armor, kick these massive mech suits 8 meters away, which would be, hundreds of kilojoules of kinetic energy. To be fair, Master Chief is scared of a 30-meter fall without his armor, so he does not scale past wall level out of armor. And here is a similar feat from this trailer of a brute doing the same thing that unarmored Master Chief did. Roughly the same distance, not if it could even be more. And Adriana in Mark IV, I believe, just straight up runs into an elite and just launches him 50 meters, or 160 feet, which is almost approaching a megajoule of kinetic energy, which is wall level. Jai, he did not have shields here, but still, he got hurt by a 100-meter fall. It says it made him dizzy. So yeah, it's an anti-feat. It's wall level. Obviously didn't kill him, but it hurt him. And we also have elites and grunts falling from orbit. However, it sounds crazier than it is. It's only wall level because their terminal velocity is pretty slow. And Spartans can just straight up get knocked out by 2 metric ton effective mass punches and strikes by hunters. Master Chief can get hurt by kinetic impacts here that are clearly wall level. Here is George and George and Noble 6 just getting hurt and having to lock their armor from wall level falls. Here is another wall level fall. Right, in the megajoule range for kinetic energy. Gen 3 Master Chief is crazy, though. He can just straight up survive stuff that would break the shields of any Spartan in previous armors. Well, Gen 3 isn't that much better than Mark 6, but you get the point. Here's him just surviving this casually. And he can just, like, yeah, that was a crazy impact, too, at the end of the game. He does get stunned, though, so I'm not, like... You'll see. I don't scale his kinetic durability very high. Bonita Stone just gets rammed by a ghost at full speed, which is also wall level. To be fair, she had no shields. She was injured and fatigued for, like, I think weeks or months or something. So it's not very fair. She was already, like, one shot. But again, she almost passed out from the pain. Master Chief does not think that his shields in Gen 3 can even survive a terminal velocity hit. In fact, 300 meters was... He thought they could break the shields at 300 meters. So again, that's also wall level. Here is Noble 6 without shields for some reason. I don't know why they don't have shields. Getting knocked out by a wall level, I think about 3 megajoule. Yeah, 3 megajoule impact. And there's Spartans. Like, I know this is from Fistful of Arrows, but I mean, I know it was never made officially canon, but it's been referenced by so many authors, and just they were going to make it canon, but they just never went around to it. I mean, and still, I'm using it as an anti-feat. I'm not using it to wank. Here is Emil getting shot by 50 cows, then ran over. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty bad anti-feat, because that would also be wall level. Yeah, so it's not officially canon, but it might as well be canon, because the person who wrote it is, like, literally making the art for the encyclopedias and Halo Evolutions. So he made it faithful to the story, and authors of Halo have said that Fistful of Arrows is faithful to the story. Right here, we know that Master Chief, gets hurt. Like, he remembers getting hit by warhogs, and he says it hurts. We know that Fred in Gen 2 literally he has no shields on here, but he gets rammed by a 10-ton truck, or like LHD vehicle, something like that, which would also be wall level, but again, more energy. And we know that the kinetic resistance, like penetration energy of, like, bullets and, like, concentrated shards, needle shards, is also in the wall level range. To be fair, she had no shields on. If she had shields on, that needle would do nothing. And 50 caliber bullets are just directly stated to be able to penetrate early Mjolnir Mark IV armor. But they can also reflect off of it at range. And carbine rounds as well just punch through the armor. Here is a Brute Chieftain who just straight up deflects 50 caliber rounds of his armor. Yeah, so it just bounces off his armor. No damage at all. So Master Chief's Mark 6 or Gen 3 should definitely scale to this. And the shields are just, like, completely resistant to bullets. It's insane. So Master Chief can survive, like, 3 magazines of assault rifle rounds without any damage, right? It just says it just begun draining his shields, basically. And a burst of assault rifle fire just brings, like, a hairbreadth of damage to his armor. We also don't know how long the Marines were firing for, so it might be more than 3 magazines. But anyways, that would be, like, almost a megajoule of energy just right there. And this is in Mark V, which is way worse than other armors. Master Chief in Mark V can survive around 2 to 3 shots from the 50mm cannon before half of the shields go away. He also dodges, like, most of them, by the way. So that would be around 5.6 megajoules of shield strength. Because it's like 1,670 meters per second with, like, a 690, or I forget how much the dart weighs, but something in grams. So that would just be wall level per cannon, and he is able to survive 6 of them. And Gen 2, Spartan Locke and Fire Team Osiris is scared of a terminal velocity fall, which would be under 8 megajoules. So that does prove that we know that they can be injured or hurt by that. But Locke can also just slam into buildings at high speeds too, crazy megajoule impacts. and just ram into banshees. So yeah, Gen 2 is crazy. But we know that Master Chief in the first game does get knocked out, or at least, I don't even know. I mean, it depends on the version. In the new one, he doesn't get knocked out at all, but the old one he did, but the impact was faster in the old one. But yeah, this should all just be scaled to the same, like, terminal velocity stuff. Yeah. So in Halo 3, it's just able to survive crashing into the earth. Halo 4 as well. Both times they had no shields active because they were on fire for the whole time. And that's 400 miles per hour, 150 meters per second. It's directly stated to be. And yeah, this should be around 7.6 megajoules of kinetic energy because it's stated to be 130 to 150 meters per second. That's their terminal speed, terminal velocity. So yeah, just wall level. But again, they had no shields on. So with shields and the Gen 3 75% increase in shield strength should put them around 21 megajoules of kinetic resistance, which is in the small building range. So yeah, Master Chief is small building level kinetic energy, but he does have overshields that can increase that by 3 times. He also just straight up like punches a banshee that's like at full speed towards him. And we know like the top speed of these banshees is around like 140 meters per second, I believe, using calculations. This is just the energy of the banshee that's going to hit him, which proves he can't survive more than this. However, he did not have to actually output the full kinetic energy of the banshee to redirect it. Only a small portion of it. So his punches should be in the megajoules wall level range.
Shown and stated to be able to punch through the energy shields of Gen 3, even in Shadows of Reach, like when it's in like a non-multiplayer setting. And the railgun should obviously be able to do this as well. And we can calculate the energy of the railgun using its speed and the size of the bullet. Now it's like Mach 44, like 15 kilometers per second. So the kinetic energy should be around 11 megajoules when we calculate how much the tungsten dart weighs. So yeah, that should be like more energy than a tank shell, but just in like a super small projectile, giving it like way more penetration power. So yeah, all of this just contradicts the statements that like Mjolnir armor is almost invincible, right? It's just hyperbolic. It doesn't literally mean it's almost invincible. We straight up see Carter die like this. Which, to be fair, he was ramming into the Scarab at super high speeds, though, like supersonic plus speeds. But possibly hypersonic speeds, actually. I don't know. The bullets are moving a lot slower than or they're moving like a similar speed to the Pelican. We also know Spartans can be injured by like electric plasma grenades like that. And Arbiter just walks off this massive explosion with his Banshee. Although he is kind of hurt, or kind of, it affects him a little bit. And the Banshee's like 3.3 metric tons. So if we calculate how much energy is needed to break the sheer strength of all that mass, it would be around 1 gigajoule, I believe. 1.2 gigajoules. And Master Chief just casually survives it too, with like barely any damage. Even in his first, like, Halo 5 or Halo CE armor. The remake does, they make the explosion way smaller though. But still, the feat would still count. And it doesn't even fully explode, it just drops to the ground in the new one, but he's even less affected by it. He's able to just jump up like that. And this would, coincide with the spike grenades being able to blow up Banshees. So yeah, 1.2 gigajoules building level. The grenade, the frag grenade, I don't know if it was a Spartan frag grenade, which are bigger, but it was able to just completely destroy a hunter. So that'd be also building level. This is like the highest end feat for the grenade though. And the rocket launcher has similar power, able to pulverize a brute chieftain, which weighs over 3,000 pounds, and a lot of that is just straight up metal. So yeah, that'd also be building level. And Master Chief should scale to these as well. Fuel rod cannons / assault cannons on the hunters are able to like vaporize SBI Spartans, which should be around building level, I believe. Like 3 to 4 gigajoules, something like that. Yeah, 3.5 gigajoules. So building level and the assault cannon, 2 of them, because it took 2 of them to do it. So one, that would be 7 gigajoules, but anyways, we see just Cat get one-shotted by these. She's wearing prototype armor, so... and then we also see the original Noble 6 guy in the trailer. You know, obviously, if any... They can't survive nukes, obviously, like, it's pretty obvious. Right here, the Spartans need to be, like, over almost 500 meters away from a nuke just to survive it, and it's a 1 megaton nuke. This is in Mark IV. They had about 30 seconds to get away, so assuming that they were at a constant, you know, peak human speed of like 30 or 20-something miles per hour, because it's on the moon too, it's harder to run, then they would be absorbing over 1 ton of TNT, which is building level plus, or like somewhere around there. And we also know that Master Chief survives Scorpion missile detonation that's 5 feet away from him, and it pulverized a 2 times 10 meter radius hemisphere of sandstone and just completely reduced it to dust. So that would be a city block level explosion, but his durability would only be 1.5 tons of TNT due to his surface area. This is Uprising. He's kind of shielded and not in the center of the explosion, but again, it proves he can casually tank stuff like that. Fuel rods are just considered to be huge, like artillery level weapons that can just one-shot elites. And they can also cut Spartans in half, even in like Mark 6 armor. And like they can only absorb a few of them. Here's Fred surviving one, but this is a way stronger one because the Hunter it directly says that like it can destroy the 70-ton dropship that they hijacked, which would be large building level. But he did get like knocked out by it. His shields were recharging though, so he could scale a little higher, possibly in the city block level range, because some of these fuel rods just straight up destroy phantoms, which are like 200 tons, which would be city block level to destroy. Master Chief also has a feat where his Lich, which is like a 1,300 ton vehicle, explodes. So yeah, this should just be supporting evidence for my previous scaling, because he does get knocked out by it. He's obviously not tanking the full explosion. He's in the front, and the impact wasn't that fast. Again, some fuel rods and assault cannons are a lot weaker because they're like in rapid fire mode, or just we can just see by like the circumstantial evidence that these are not that crazy. But it does break his shields, and the Brute Chieftain's able to stomp on him while he's down, and then Master Chief detonates a plasma grenade point blank that vaporizes the Brute Chieftain and like 12 to 14 other grunts. So Master Chief surviving this 2 feet away from his face would come out to around, I think, 4 tons of TNT he absorbed, and the whole explosion is large building level. And we can obviously see it turned everyone to gas, and it literally incinerated and turned to ash the grunts. This is a monitor beam in Halo Bloodlines that is able to completely ionize a Hunter, which weighs like 7 metric tons in total. So this would be like a city block plus attack. And Margaret does survive it. However, her surface area is like 10 to 20 times smaller than the Hunter. So logically, she's not absorbing any more than 10 tons of TNT. And it explicitly hurts her. And it's a high-end feat, too. There's also apparently like it reflected into like some sniper or something, but I couldn't find the scan for that. But anyways, It's 15,000 degrees is like the peak temperatures of monitor beams or sentinel beams. And here's Spartan Locke's massive shockwave ground pound ability. He does slam into a building with it that's like made out of rock, some kind of like concrete or rock, so we can calculate it. I did assume that it was solid, which could inflate the calculation a little bit. But here's the calculation. So it's about 50 feet down. We use his surface area, which is like he has twice the surface area of a human, and we take the strength of the material, and I believe we get 3 tons of TNT, which should be large building level. So yeah, ground pound is at most large building level. We also have like Tanaka slamming through a boulder in one of the first cutscenes of Halo 5. So anyways, Spartans can survive being in close range of these Wraith cannons, which have huge variable yields. Some of these things, like right here, I don't think it's above building. And right here, it's like not even small building level. But then, yeah, here too, this is like very obviously wall level. But right here, the calculation is that'll be really hard to calculate, but it's at least like large, maybe building level, somewhere around there. And it's just like straight up stated that they can't really survive these, right? One of these things, even in Shadows of Reach, they need to be 150 meters apart just to survive them. That's how strong these things are. To be fair, we know that some of these, like in First Strike, I believe this is, we see it literally have like multi-city block to small town level yields by just vaporizing like 10 to 7 tanks or something like that. But anyways, the Spartan laser in one shot was able to destroy this massive metal bridge in Halo the Package, and that would be multi-city block level, almost 300 tons of TNT. So yeah, this is all like the upper threshold for what Master Chief can survive. These are all high-end feats. We've never seen him survive anything like this. However, the Spartan laser is a standard weapon for him, so this would be a very big advantage in a fight. We can just see them like mowing down brutes and grunts and jackals. And the Spartan laser, it just breaks the things though. It doesn't really vaporize that much on impact. Like right, I don't think it's going to show it, but it has a variable power output. Like right there, clearly did not destroy the whole thing like it did earlier. He's probably just using less power. But in order to do that 300 tons of TNT feat, he had to use like 10% of his power, I believe, from the weapon, if it says it on the HUD. Like right there, there's no way that was a 300 tons TNT explosion. But anyways, yeah, like elites are not relative to Spartans in speed. Look at that. Like they're just not. The higher end ones are like him. But the Ravager is a crazy weapon from Halo Infinite that Master Chief can just like easily access with fob stations. It can vaporize entire 40-ton broadswords in seconds, which is 230 tons of TNT. And the Spartans were afraid of this weapon like many times, and it like melts their armor too, so I wouldn't scale them to it. But the Didact has an even crazier feat of ionizing, atomizing a huge metal barrier, which would be almost 700 tons of TNT. To be fair, there is like a statement saying that the molecular bonds of the material... Oh yeah, that would be multi-city block plus, by the way. But the molecular bonds of the material disintegrate or something when it takes battle damage. However, that would just be in relation to the Forerunner War, and like, you know, they were using weapons like the incineration cannon anyways, so I think it would still count as a feat. And here's Master Chief just getting no-diffed by the Didact, right? He doesn't even really stand a chance. He's just completely overpowered. So this would mean that if these constraint fields can hold Master Chief with one arm, then the Didact should be around a 110, 100-tonner like Master Chief is in Gen 3. Possibly more, but I wouldn't push it higher. Because to be fair, Master Chief, like if he's in the air and you're restraining him, he can't even really use his legs and stuff, so I don't know if the Didact can get stronger than 100 tons. And Master Chief does struggle to like lift himself up here. It's not because he can't lift 1 ton or anything like that. It's because we can clearly see there's some kind of disruption in his armor. He can't even regenerate his shields. But he's still able to run super fast right here and tank this punch. I mean, let's be honest, that punch was wall level, but still. He chucked the pulse grenade inside of the armor. And these don't really have great feats. There is a feat where it like ionizes a Spartan in an animation in game, which should be large building level plus. So that's like that's kind of an anti-feat because, you know, the binary rifle though is able to destroy and annihilate most flood forms in one hit, including and up to like nascent key mines, which would include like juggernauts, which I believe would weigh like 10 tons, somewhere around there. Yeah, we just know that these weapons were like used on the Didact and he used them, so we know that he's able to be hurt by these. But regardless, the whole flood spore mountain thing is just like taken out of context. They're obviously talking about early forming spore mountains. We obviously know they're talking about massive armies of Forerunners and Promethean Knights using them. But yeah, this really should not scale that high. We have no idea how many shots it took. We don't even know if they really ionized the full thing. In Halo Wars 2, they definitely didn't. So yeah, there's some versions that are stronger than the others that like the Didact used or something like that. But it's all just useless details. The Didact was partially armored here, and he did react to the blast. That's why I don't think the blast is light speed, but we'll get into that in the speed section. But yeah, he gets defeated by getting hit by this weird positron lightning form of the binary rifle. It's not even what they show in game. I don't even know if it is lightning, but yeah, that shouldn't be crazy. They're just getting hurt. Like, the Didact is just getting hurt by these attacks that Spartans can survive. Like, the scatter shot that's been shown that like Spartan Thorn or some blue Spartan Ops just straight up survives it to the chest. So like these weapons he's getting hurt by in Halo Escalation can't be that crazy. He's getting hurt by the binary rifle too. He got stabbed. He's getting shot. His armor's getting affected by this thing, which is like, I forget what it's called, but the little Forerunner pistol is not that crazy. The bolt shot is what it's called, I think. And he just gets straight up knocked out by a monitor beam, which, remember, we previously calculated at our like city block level plus, and he just straight up gets disabled and knocked out. Or I don't know if he's knocked out, but he's definitely down. The Master Chief gets his shields like destroyed by the same attacks. Right here, he gets like knocked out by small portion of the composer. It uses like neural physics and I don't even know, but the energy still should not be higher than what he's already survived before. Again, while he's like under this gravity field or this, I don't even know what's going on with his armor in Halo 4 and the ending cutscenes, but he does crawl over. We've all seen this. He crawls over to the Havoc nuke, which is 30 megatons, and he detonates it point blank. Yeah, no, I mean, why would he be looking up at Earth if, like, he could just casually survive 30 megatons? It's pretty obvious that this was a suicide. This was just like an attempt at suicide. He was sacrificing himself for Earth. So, yeah, I mean, he gets blocked by the shield that Cortana made. It says he couldn't survive without it. Here's what it actually looks like in the game files. Yeah, this is not an ability that Master Chief has with his arbor. It's very obviously a one-time event using the technology on board of the ship. Yeah, 30 megatons, just directly stated. This would not scale to like the normal hard light shield because the normal hard light shield is powered by the armor, which we know doesn't have 30 megatons of power, and it's considered ruggedly resistive, not impervious. If I could survive a 46 quadrillion ton ship like this exploding in my face, I don't know why the UNSC would call it only ruggedly resistive. That makes no sense. And the Didact is stated to be able to be killed by the Havoc nuke at the same time that the Composer would get destroyed. Meaning he probably doesn't scale 30 megatons. He most definitely doesn't scale with 30 megatons. Here's like some cut animation thing where like it looks like he survived, but like again, that's just like an animation thing. And his shields don't even take damage. It's clearly just a weird thing going on there. We even see in the storyboard that he gets teleported away. And Cortana says, most of me is down there, so we don't even really know where they are. Like, we assume they got shielded, but it's also, like, implied they got teleported. Like, Master Chief got teleported away as well. And the Didact is not actually tanking a Composer beam. First of all, his surface area is very small compared to the beam. This is, like, a small portion of the beam. Like, the actual beam is right here. It's not even, like, the harmful one. And, on top of that, it's neural physics, and his like body is immune to it in the same way that like the Harbinger is immune to the halo arrays. Like it's not actual energy that's hitting his body, it's just going through his body. Yeah, there's just so many issues with that. And Master Chief eventually detonates 5 or 6 Composer beams, and they completely atomize the Didact. Now, if this were real energy and not just like durability negation, then why on earth is everything around him just completely fine? It tears you away from the physical world. So yeah, just not comparable to real durability. And we just know that the Didact is able to be manhandled by these city level 50-ton machines. So that could be like an anti-feat for his lifting strength. But I guess the machines would be powerful too. They could probably lift more than their body weight or their vehicle weight. And you know they're cutting across continents. Yeah, there's like an army of them. And the Didact does not scale to them. They literally are towing him around like a kid, it says. And the Didact did not literally shake the entire 46 quadrillion ton ship, the Mantle's approach. It's just figurative, and if you want evidence for that, we can just directly see that the master builder, or whatever his name is standing completely still, and he doesn't even move an inch, it says. Like, he doesn't move at all until the Didact pushes him. So the Scream clearly can't be that powerful. Also, we just know the Didact has no feats like that. Why wouldn't he just do that right here when Master Chief is trying to, like, do the halo rings on him, right? So, yeah. That Didact going into slit space does not make him 12D. That's just the most crazy wink I've ever heard. We know it is stated that slit space is 11D and, 12D as well. Like 11 plus D. But we know that, like, it's I don't know. Like, I don't even need to explain this. It's just not how dimensionality works. Going through a portal does not mean you scale to it. So if we go over speed for Master Chief, we have a lot to get into. So, like, in armor, we know they can outrun Warthogs 80 miles per hour. We know that they can also, like Master Chief in Mark V in Fall of Reach, he runs 500 meters, half a kilometer, in 17 seconds, which means his average speed would be around 70 miles per hour on Reach, but his top speed would be almost 100 miles per hour, right? 93. So he's in the subsonic range pretty easily. And it's not... he broke his heel, he tore his heel, then ran that distance for 1,640 feet. So it's a sustained feat with an injury, not a short burst feat that injured him. That's just a complete inversion of what happened that everyone gets wrong on the internet. But anyways, Linda can outrun Ghost at full speed, even when she has a disadvantage of acceleration, meaning she's around 110 miles per hour. However, we know there's limits to this speed because Kelly was almost unable in Ghost of Onyx to run away from a 200 kilometer per hour, 124 mile per hour pair of Sentinels. And they didn't even reach their top speed yet, according to the book. Or they were approaching their top speed. But anyways, Master Chief without armor at 14 could react in 20 milliseconds or significantly faster in combat. We know he can dodge rubber bullets, but we don't know the exact speed of the rubber bullets. And we don't even know what distance they were dodged at. These are not the same stun rounds as the, like, anesthetic rounds, which are like real bullet speed. These are just like, again, we see them get blitzed by paintball rounds. So the rounds that Spartan 2s were dodging were not bullet level. They were like super slow. Because we know that they can't dodge real bullets because in Fall of Reach, it's a major plot point that Master Chief has to pull or push Sam out of the way to stop these bullets from hitting him. And they can't react to them because that would not make sense. Why don't you just dodge it? And if you watch this scene from the animated movie, it's just painfully obvious that these characters are moving magnitude slower than the bullets that are essentially hit scan. And they can't react to them, right? Like, they just get blitzed. Even when they're, like, across a room, meaning the reactions would only be subsonic. Like, it would still be, like, 20 to 10 milliseconds, even if they did react. So none of this is, this is all just subsonic. To be fair, they don't have armor on. Like, humans are able to react to their movements. And here's Spartan 4s who don't have the amp of their armor because there's no helmet. And Scruggs gets blitzed by a Mach 1 pistol, a Magnum, and blitzed by a knife. And thrown out a window, and then Palmer just kills him. And we know that Ilsa, I forget her name. She was originally meant to match Spartans. However, we know this isn't really the case because Palmer, who is already like in the subsonic plus range because he's a Spartan 4, gets her helmet knocked off by her, and the helmet is what connects the speed and the strength. So obviously, Ilsa is going to start doing better, and she still gets blitzed by a she got blitzed by Palmer getting up and then dashing into her. So nothing in here is above subsonic. There's no way. Because the kinetic energy, if they were moving supersonic, would just kill them both. And we know that Palmer, without armor, is struggling with subsonic, human level speed blows. And even Spartan 4's, like Scruggs, just gets hit by them and bleeds. We know there's... When Spartans don't have their helmet on, they're just always subsonic. Like right here, he's getting blitzed by plasma bolts, which are only half the speed of sound. And when Noble 6 is injured with no helmet on, he is getting blitzed by normal plasma rounds. And he's moving at subsonic speeds here, right? Below 100 miles per hour. He's not moving that crazy here. But yeah, Johnson is able to dodge subsonic needle rounds because Johnson is a Spartan 1, so he will be pretty fast. Like, he is superhuman, but not that superhuman. Like, he couldn't lift Master Chief. He needed, like, heavy lifting gear at the beginning of Halo 3. But anyways, he gets blitzed by a tentacle whip, or whatever you would call their arms, just an arm whip from a flood combat form. He does react to it, but not fast enough to dodge it. He just has to block it. And then he gets launched away from it, which is crazy strength feat. But that would just be wall level. These are able to, like, when the whip cracks like at supersonic speeds, they're able to drain Master Chief's shields almost. So that's how strong they are. And again, just aim dodging, right? He saw movement, then he moved with those assault rifles. And right here, he can hear the noise from the flood form. And he did not dodge it after it fired. This is just like a scene splicing confusion. He definitely just ducked behind. You can see his leg is still tucked behind the corner, and he's already shooting. He knew the flood form was there. He cannot react in under 4 milliseconds. That's insane. Not even Arbiter can do that. But again, Master Chief is surprised the first time he dodges bullets in Fall of Reach. He explicitly says, to his amazement, he dodged the bullets. And in the storyboard, we see him get blitzed by this whip, which Miranda is able to look and track. So clearly it can't be subsonic. It can't be that fast. And he's getting blitzed by again. His jaw would be broken if these things were supersonic or hypersonic, like they would have to be for it to be consistent. And he gets blitzed by Arbiter, who is subsonic, because look right here. Like 20 to 30 feet away is getting blitzed by bullets, meaning his reaction time can't be faster than 6 milliseconds. There's no way. He's just like, I mean, they're relative in speed, but not, I mean, again, Arbiter dodging Arbiter could probably, if the Arbiter did that shotgun feat, I would be like, okay, that's plausible, because he does have some crazy fight scenes with, like, Spartans. Or I think he actually only has one, but anyways, Johnson is not a bullet timer. And yeah, here Spartan's just, like, completely dominating elites. Like, I don't know where the parody comes from. It's very clear that elites are not relative to Spartans that often. Sometimes they are. Well, it depends. It's circumstantial. But anyways, Sergeant Forge is a Spartan 1.1, so he is also enhanced. His genetics are enhanced indirectly from his parents, or his dad, I don't remember. And he's able to move relative to Reaper Morami, or whatever you say his name. And Reaper is stated to be like one of the fastest elites, right? Or not one of the fastest, but they use like a hyperbolic statement where they say his speed is like unmatched or something, his strength and speed. And we know that's going to be a pretty bad anti-feat, because Sergeant Forge, who just objectively has no feats above subsonic, is able to blitz him. Look right here with the knife. While he's looking directly at him, and Reaper barely reacts in time, and it makes it so that he gets stabbed in the neck, which leads to his death. He gets stunned long enough for him to stab him. And here is Reaper getting blitzed by bullets. And here's the speed statement. And Johnson just obviously can't dodge bullets, because these slow-ass plasma bolts are enough to make him duck away. He should be able to dodge them really easily. They're like 50 feet away. It's 40 milliseconds. Or no, that's like 100 milliseconds. This is like human level reaction time, or like peak human to dodge them. If he could really dodge bullets, none of this would make any sense. He could just go in there and weave past them. And Master Chief shows a lot more reactability in the new Halo game to these Covenant projectiles, and Johnson does not, which is pretty bad, because Master Chief doesn't really have a lot of good speed feats in this armor. So you can see Master Chief here just dodging a lot of the plasma bolts while Johnson just stays behind cover. And no, this brute did not react to a railgun. The railgun has a charge-up time, and he just reacted to that. And we can see here, just look here with how they behave when they look at bullets and guns, or not bullets, when they look at guns being pointed at them. They do not behave. Johnson is not behaving like a person who can sidestep bullets with ease, or even at all. And Brute's getting blitzed by bullets, and you can't say, oh my god, they just crashed, because, again, reaction time is a neural constant, basically. It doesn't vary by that much. It's literally the speed of your nerves, your neurons or whatever, within your head. It's like inside your brain. So, like, that's not really a good excuse. And here is Gek, who's like a high tier elite, just fighting at subsonic speeds with an unarmored, virtually unarmored due to the helmet being off, Spartan Thorn. So yeah, nothing here is past like Captain America tier speed. And they're somewhat relative in lifting strength, meaning I don't think, not really. I mean, Gek basically just overpowers him. I don't think Gek can even lift that much, to be honest. Also, his armor does not increase his strength because he's not wearing any, like, I don't know where the strength increase could even be. This scene is just like, what is going on here? These are Spartan 4s. Gen 3 just, oh my gosh. What are they doing? This is pretty bad. This is cut content though, so I guess I could cope and say it's not canon, but let's be honest, this is probably exactly what happened. Or what would happen. I never did the multiplayer stuff. But it is canon, so. They're just doing all these shenanigans for this, like, fodder. To be fair, nobody in this scene has their armor on. They're all helmetless, so no strength or speed increase. Palmer, before getting augmented, was still, obviously she's human, so has human level reflexes, are able to dodge chieftain blows. To be fair, the chieftain was very far away before she dodged. And she's able to blitz the chieftain, so yeah, chieftains are human level speed. They're like peak human. We can even see it right here. This chieftain is he's fast, but not that fast. And the humans are able to blitz him, I'm pretty sure here. Yeah, they're able to react to his hammer, stop it from hitting Romeo. And this chieftain is not behaving like a character who, to say the least, 100-tonner supersonic character. Right? They're like maybe we're probably gonna have to tone it down for the brute scaling, just based off of the evidence. They're able to. Oh, the ODSTs are also not that superhuman. They barely lifted that 3,000-pound chieftain, even when 3 of them were helping. And here's just evidence that ODSTs, sure, they react faster than people, but like normal people, but they're still getting subsonic feats and blitzed by needles, which are only like 100 miles per hour, I think, or 120 miles per hour. Just completely blitzed by them. Here's Spartan Locke reacting to an elite zealot. The elite zealot is just not really trying at all, but still. Even when the zealot is trying, he very clearly has human level reflexes. So elites cannot really dodge bullets. The only ones that can are like the super, super high-end ones that compete with Spartans, and like they do have supporting independent feats too. Here's like an elite general from the 343 era design in Halo Escalation, able to blitz a Spartan after the Spartan was just in movement though, so preoccupied. They can also dodge knife throws from Spartans, which then leads to him getting hit in the jaw by a normal human Lasky. And Lasky is able to blitz Prometheans. Now, this would obviously not upscale Lasky, who is just a human. It would downscale the Prometheans. They're very slow. And Palmer without her helmet is also very slow, as you can see by how slow she reacted there. But yeah, lightning speed, definitely not. These armigers are probably not even supersonic. We haven't even seen feats. They just get blitzed by bullets consistently. But to be fair, they do have very fast attack speed. We see them blitz Spartans all the time. Here's Master Chief. Oh, their durability isn't crazy. It's like less than building. But here's Master Chief. He's going to get kind of blitzed by one right here. Or not really. He does react. You can see his arm go up to react to it, but still not fast enough. Yeah, elites cannot dodge bullets. Look at this. Look at this stuff. We see them kind of react to... You could argue they reacted to it, but again, that's subsonic. It's a huge range, like 40, 20 milliseconds. And they get blitzed by plasma bolts. And that's not even a bullet dodge if you go frame by frame. He just moved out of the way after getting hit. So yeah, they're getting blitzed. Even the Silent Shadow here, I think that's what these guys are. They're using Blood Blades. These guys are not fast. Like, to be fair, like, they're not supersonic fast. They're like subsonic plus at best. And whoever this is, Jonah, I believe. I don't know if that's his name. He's an SPI Spartan, so he's kind of he doesn't have any strength or speed increase, basically. Very
Sniper,
minimal.
third floor.
Here are
left.
ODSTs.
Let me give him my welcome to Earth gift basket.
They're going to be reacting to the elite. To be fair, the elite does blitz them a lot, but nothing that isn't possible. Subsonic.
I see him.
That's that. Yeah, his shield. The elite miners are fine. Curse him. He's just gonna get blitzed by bullets.
Cook the bastard.
Like, if he could dodge bullets, like, I don't know, some people do claim this, by the way, if you wonder why I keep saying it. There's people that really think they can. And the ODST did not dodge the beam rifle there, by the way. He literally reacts after it hits the rock. It just missed. It's a problem with analyzing scenes without slowing them down. But again, you don't look at one feat of somebody reacting to elites and then say, oh, the humans are going to upscale to the elites. No, you look at the elite and you're like, hey, these 10 humans are reacting to it. Clearly, we're going to downscale the elite. It's just like power scaling hierarchy. And this guy, I forget his name, but he like blitzes an elite miner after getting like Spartan juice, Spartan drugs, or like whatever that was. And this is the shipmaster. He's just dodging he dodged the plasma bolt, which is pretty fast, like subsonic reaction time. This is just aim dodge, by the way.
By shockwaves. You know, this glassing beam right here. They're scared of the glassing beam too, which was only like city level. They literally say how much energy it has. I forget how much, but they say it. Shockwaves right here. You know, they blitz Spartans. Spartans have never really reacted to shockwaves that consistently. We see them like react to shrapnel in some books and some scenes, but that's pretty much it. Here's the rocket launcher. Obviously, flood forms don't really react that fast. Guilty Spark does not react that fast either. Here is... what is his name? I forget the Arbiter from Halo Legends' name. Vodami, something, I don't even know. It doesn't matter, but he is, like, so much faster than your normal elite, which just proves that you can have elites that can scale to Spartans while also having fodder elites that have worse armor, that has worse strength increase. Like, your average elite probably doesn't lift more than 5 tons, but we have, like, Arbiter who can go toe-to-toe with Jai in like, a wrestling match, meaning he probably lifts almost 40 tons based off of, like, Mark 4, Mark 5 feats. And, like, Master Chief should just be able to effortlessly overpower an elite miner. And Master Chief should scale to everything here. Literally everything's shown here. I mean, Master Chief just has better technology, better armor than this guy. You know, Spartans have better speed feats. So everything here is just Master Chief. Oh, by the way, Master Chief in Uprising does a similar thing. Sadly, it's not animated, but we see him just take out, like, hundreds of brutes. And in like a very small room, too. He couldn't even leave the room. He didn't flip the tank there, by the way. That was the Wraith explosion. I don't know why people pretend like he threw a tank like that. That's just not within the capabilities of anyone that... I don't even know how much force that would be, but it's definitely not possible by anyone in the verse. Yeah, we know that Arbiter in the storyboard gets blitzed by plasma rounds, and in the game, the cutscenes in the game too, which should give him subsonic reaction time. However, plasma rifles can go faster than half the speed of sound. We've seen it happen multiple times in lore. So I mean, it's possible they're faster. So I wouldn't cap him here. It'd be kind of disingenuous. We have a lot better feats to go over for arbiter speed. He's blitzed right here, like 20 feet away, 10 to 20 feet away. Well, more like 10 feet right there. And we know these plasma rifles are going pretty fast because the Mach 2 to Mach 5 or Mach 2 to Mach 6 carbine rounds are moving not too much faster than the plasma rifle frame by frame. So arbiter is getting blitzed by like supersonic projectiles here. It's not like they're, slow projectiles. Spartan 3s can move faster than like 99% of the Covenant when they were fighting, even though they barely have any strength or speed increase, which just proves that your average, even your high-end elites don't have any reaction times faster than subsonic, like for the most part. Just completely blitzed and surprised by how fast this SPI Spartan is. And elite zealots do have some impressive speed feats, like almost overwhelming this Spartan. I forget who he is. Gabriel, I think, is what his name is. He clearly struggled to dodge that strike, and he falls over, he trips over. And then a Promethean Knight comes in for some reason and just like smacks the zealot. I don't know what's going on here. We also have Spartan Cal move like 2 meters or 3 meters before a bullet goes like 30 feet, giving them like subsonic plus speed. And also Cal is relative in strength to this brute chieftain. If anything, she might be stronger. And she is just like doing acrobatics on this brute, completely blitzing him, perception blitzing him. And then she kicks him off this waterfall. He does survive this fall and comes back, and we'll see what happens when he comes back. He gets his revenge. So right here, the brute chieftain, he's swinging. He's obviously swinging at faster speeds than the bullets seen earlier, where they're moving before the bullet hits the grunt. But yeah, that impact wasn't above wall level. However, there is an explosive value rather than the kinetic energy. There's like a shockwave value, or it's like an explosion value for the gravity hammer that's like building the small building too. So, however, sometimes we don't see that. Sometimes it's just kinetic. But here are average elite miners getting blitzed by bullets, like always. Halo 5 Guardians, Gen 2. This is like the interpretation of Gen 2 where it's like actually really good, rather than some books show some variants are just mass-produced dog shit suits. Even then, though, I think that's overplayed. They're still pretty good. But yeah, here's just Jewel Mdama is not that fast. Bro is not getting past subsonic. Here are how fast Spartans can actually move. They're just way faster than everything around them. And there's Tanaka just casually blowing through that boulder. I think that's like small building to building level. See how she's just blitzing everyone, including these generals, which previously were interpreted as being like pretty fast, but I mean, it's not every elite is going to be the same, even if they have the same rank, because I'm pretty sure the rank is not just determined by skill, it's determined by like kill count, which we all know is not always an accurate measure of how good you are. Yeah, bullets are completely unavoidable for zealots who can compete with the speed of Spartans, meaning Spartans are not, you can't really get them past supersonic here. I don't think Spartan 3s and Mark 5B are past supersonic. And here is the arbiter getting blitzed by Jai. He does not match Giants in reaction time, really. Not really, but even if he did, Jai is like, what, 4 to 2 milliseconds? Subsonic plus the supersonic. And this elite just straight up blocks these bullets after they're fired. And goes relative of Master Chief, like high relative. So yeah, this elite is approaching supersonic. And we know that carbine rounds can, like, plasma cannon rounds can go around Mach 6 too, because carbine rounds are around Mach 6, and they're able to, like, compete in speed. Prelates can dodge or react to these. We don't know what distance, though. It's assumed to be a long distance across a huge ship. So yeah, Mach 2 muzzle velocity, but it increases in speed. It propels itself using its own mass. And here is a Spartan 3 with SPI armor reacting to them. Now the distance is what, like 10 to 20 feet? It's hard to calculate when exactly he reacted. I'm going to calculate a very similar feat, though, from the storyboard, which is at a similar range, because I can actually calculate this range using pixel scaling. See how they're dodging these carbine rounds. This is Arbiter and the Heretic. So yeah, 16 feet away. At Mach 2, this should be around 7 milliseconds. And I believe they had to move like 400 miles per hour to evade it, which is pretty impressive. I think that's subsonic plus, or maybe below. Yeah, subsonic plus with subsonic reaction time. And plasma rounds are threatening and fast enough to hit Spartans, but we also know there's a variable speed to them. It varies a lot. It's inconsistent. It's probably dependent upon power output. But here are Spartans being afraid of fuel rods, which just proves that these guys are not... Gen 2 is not above building. Or not, I don't know. Maybe it could building level plus. Here is Mark 4 Daisy, I think is the name. And she's like dodging plasma bolts, but also getting blitzed by drones. That would probably just upscale the drones, though. Also, this would upscale the needle speed since it's able to penetrate Mjolnir, meaning it has to be around Mach 6. But still, it would mean that she can't really dodge Mach 6 stuff that well. Here's Thorn just getting blitzed by a needle. To be fair, I mean, again, these are hypersonic just due to the fact that these super lightweight needles can penetrate armor that previously is able to survive 50 calibers and carbines. But still, he was not able to react to it. He was kind of hindered by the quicksand, though, of the mud. Here's Master Chief being like highly reactive to these assault cannons. Fuel rod type guns. And there's this confirmation here that hunters are like wall level in terms of kinetic durability. Maybe small building, I don't know. I don't know what that would calculate to. Yeah, the assault cannons charge up before they're fired sometimes, but still, there's Spartans that get blitzed by them. And plasma pistols can track you, and Spartans get blitzed by them too. However, although they are half the speed of sound in the Halo 3 materials and munitions description, there's actually evidence that they can move way faster. Like right here, the bullets are actually moving slower than the plasma bolts if you look at like the frame-by-frame breakdown. Meaning these Spartans are like, the reason why they're ducking behind cover is because these projectiles are approaching hypersonic. But they're not really dodging them. They don't, it's kind of hard to dodge. Here's Noble 6 getting blitzed, or he's not, to say the least, he's not matrix dodging these plasma cannon bolts. However, I do believe those bolts are hypersonic, though, by the many feats. And here's Emil. He's going to blitz this elite. Again, elites do not have Spartan reaction time. Barely. They barely do. Rarely do. And here are the bullets in this animated scene. And the bullets are actually moving, like the Mach 3, Mach 2.6 bullets are moving a little bit slower than the plasma bolt, which is what Master Chief and Sam barely reacted to. So yeah, this would just be in support of high-end mark. They're 14 or 15 here, I don't remember. Maybe 16, I don't know. But this would just prove that they're like supersonic plus, supersonic in that armor. So yeah, like if they can react, just stated to be able to react 10 times faster than 20 to 10 milliseconds, which means like their normal reaction time should be 1 to 2 milliseconds, then, you know, they have to be punching at supersonic speeds. And the kinetic energy of a 20 kilogram mass at Mach 1 is like 4 megajoules, I think. That might be wrong, but still, that is perfectly in line with how much energy is needed to hurt Spartans in Mjolnir. So yeah, again, this fight scene is not like inconsistent with the scaling at all, because Spartan Locke would just scale to Master Chief. Like, he would scale very relative to him. Now, Master Chief is probably holding back a lot, but I mean, that doesn't really, that's not really a good argument. That's like the Spider-Man shit. But anyways, they can dodge bullets like that, but again, you could argue that's not even dodging. And they get blitzed by these weapons, which there is some statements saying I would say they're like hypersonic weapons, like high hypersonic, based off the, I think the light speed stuff is hyperbolic. It says light mass particles find their mark at the speed of light. That's probably not true, considering you can dodge them in game. I mean, it's definitely not true. I mean, here's just Spartans dodging bullets point blank. Here are these like 905 meter per second assault rifle rounds just dodged. Here's them reacting to sniper rounds point blank at 5 feet away. And the whole goal, by the way, of this is a training simulation or a training game where if you get hit, you lose. So it's not because they're not immune to bullets. Well, if they're not wearing shields, actually, a sniper would actually go through their armor. But anyways, this would be like under a millisecond, 700 microseconds, supersonic plus reaction time. We know Spartans are not really, even at distance, they find cover from Mach 11 beam rifles because they know that dodging them is very, very hard to do. Here are Spartans getting blitzed by them. To be fair, I don't think he knew where the shooter was here. Here's, I don't know how you couldn't dodge that. It's like a kilometer away. And he's a trained sniper. I forget who this is, Victor or Otto. I think Otto is the one who dodges it, and Victor is the one shooting, I believe. But yeah, he's a trained sniper, and he doesn't even know where he's at, yet he dodged it here. And right here is the craziest, this is like the best reaction time feat in Halo. He just dodges it when it's like 5 feet away from him. And you can't aim dodge when somebody has the same reaction time as you. It's like almost impossible. So yeah, Mach 11. I think it would be like 360 microseconds from the distance that he's at. Which should be hypersonic reaction time. This is the only hypersonic reaction time feat in Halo. The rest are supersonic plus, which is obviously one step below that. And the combat speed should be approaching like supersonic plus because he moved like half his torso in time. And Atriox would mostly, like this would just basically upscale Atriox for the most part. Master Chief and the Spartans, like Master Chief is very clearly faster than Atriox, so I would not just directly stamp on Master Chief's speed stats to Atriox. But Atriox should be in the supersonic plus range at most. I don't believe there's enough independent evidence to prove that he's even above supersonic without chain scaling. However, he does have a speed feat I do want to go over. But yeah, defeating red team would just be a case of him being, faster than them. And they're like supersonic, so. Or like comparable speed to them. So here's Master Chief's fight with Atriox. If you actually look closely, the bullets take like 2 to 3 frames right there, even though they're supposed to be like over 2,000 feet per second, meaning the scene is like slowed by 8 times. Like the time is being dilated by 8 times. So this 30 or 20 meter per second punch is actually like, it's actually 500 miles per hour or 600 in reality. But yeah, Atriox did not fully scale to Master Chief's speed there. However, he did just use electricity and his striking strength to put him down. And here, Atriox is very fast, though. He's reacting like that when he's not even looking. He clearly has a neural implant in his head, if you look closely. And even before that, look what he was... I don't know if this was before that, actually. I have no clue. He was able to completely blitz this Marine, forget her name, before the knife moves like a few inches, which would mean he's like 500 miles per hour. He can swing his the end of his gravity hammer at crazy speeds. So he's not just stronger than every other brute, but also very good at fighting. So there's a lot more than just him being strong, right? It's obviously saying that he's way faster than he should be. And again, that feat at Halo Wars, or Halo Wars 2, Halo Wars 1, I don't even know what that is. It would just downscale the Spartan laser, or the first laser beam is what hits them immediately, and then the follow-up beam. But anyways, Master Chief finds it hard to, and Blue Team, they find it hard to react to like Mach 30. When they're moving Mach 30, they find it hard to react to debris in the way, which wouldn't make any sense of their light speed. Here is Palmer and Tanaka preemptively moving their shields to block Sentinel beams, which Sentinel beams should not be light speed, even if there's statements that they are. They should just be Mach 11, considering Spartans can dodge them, and the beam rifle is not able to be consistently dodged by those same Spartans. But yeah, having your shield up in a still frame does not prove you reacted to it. This kind of looks like a reaction, though, but it wouldn't be past subsonic. Here's Master Chief just getting blitzed by Sentinel beams. So yeah, getting blitzed by hypersonic projectiles or lasers. He does dodge them in this scene. But again, that shouldn't scale him past what he already has, because it's a pretty big distance that he's dodging them from. He's aim dodging here. And Troy Denning actually says that Spartans, like, there's a scene where a beam rifle is fired and Fred moves, but, like, Fred moved before it fired, he says, because that's just, Spartans are not trained to, like, just wait to dodge projectiles. I don't even know what book that was from. But anyways, Master Chief is just consistently blitzed by these projectiles that are hypersonic plus. And he has to aim dodge here as well. So as you can see, there's a very big pattern with aim dodging. Right here too. That'd also be a durability downscale for Master Chief. Well, I don't know, maybe he doesn't really know what's going to hit him, but regardless. He can dodge Sentinel beams. He can at range. I don't know. This is a very long range. Here's Linda dodging them too. And Lone Wolf. There is a pixel, like, ang size measurement for the distance of these Sentinel beams, and assuming they're Mach 11, we can actually perfectly calculate how fast she reacted and moved. I'm referring to Tanaka in the cover art. These ones I don't have ing size measurements for. This one I do. So she reacted in like 4 milliseconds to 5 milliseconds and moved at almost 300 miles per hour to evade, which should be comparable to this looks like the same distance from the Linda feats too. So yeah, 60 feet away. And she's moving 2 feet in time. So yeah, 5 milliseconds and 300 miles per hour. And here is Master Chief and the storyboard dodging a point blank. He's using Cortana here. It sounds like it if you read it. And he does dodge it after it's fired. However, the issue with this is that, again, it's not light speed. If we assume it's Mach 11, if just like the beam rifle, then he moves like 2 feet in time almost, and it's 4 feet away. So his speed would be Mach 4. And this is a storyboard thing, so this isn't even like necessarily canon. But yeah, that's how you can get a supersonic plus feat there. He didn't react to it, though. It charged up before it fired. I didn't mention that, but it explicitly shows it charging up, so he didn't actually react to it. Now, I mean, this is just like pathetic. Like, he dodged lasers like that. We all know those aren't real lasers. He's able to like maneuver this supersonic, hypersonic, whatever the speed is of the broadsword. He's able to operate it and make reaction. Like, he's able to react while moving super fast. And lastly, we have the crazy missile slat feat using Cortana. We can measure the distance to be 8.2 feet away using ing size, and 4.1 feet away before he reacted, meaning he reacted in around 700 microseconds using Cortana, and he moves 2 meters in time, moving his arm in a 90-degree arc and moving his leg slightly. And we know the speed of the missile can't be faster than Mach 5 due to the rigid body spikes that it has. However, it's Mach 8, right? He slaps his arm at Mach 8. But yeah, so he's hypersonic.
So yeah, Master Chief can lift almost, over 110 tons or over 100 tons, can run at over 100 miles per hour, react in 360 or whatever, 370 microseconds. With Cortana, he can slap and punch. Well, probably wouldn't want to do that. He wouldn't want to break his arm, but he can move at Mach 8 with his combat speed. He can also output almost 300 tons of TNT with the Spartan laser, Ravager, incineration cannon, binary rifle, whatever weapon. He has a ton of weapons like that. And his armor lock and armor ability should allow his durability to be around a similar value. And for Doomslayer, right, we have him struggling with 14 tons, right? His armor doesn't increase his strength, so... and that's also post-liberty machine in Dark Ages. We know that his attack potency is, around 19 tons of TNT with the Crucible at most. That's a high-end calculation. Travel speed is 50 miles per hour. Combat speed is less than 200. And reaction time is subsonic, right, around 10 milliseconds. So yeah, I mean, Master Chief is just like 10 times stronger, like 20 times more durable, whatever. Like, I don't know the exact values, but yeah, Master Chief is a lot more impressive in every physical way, every physical stat. So yeah, Master Chief pretty much stomps. If you want to debate it, yeah, I'm not going to debate you on text. You're going to have to join voice chat, maybe like Discord or I don't know what other app. Probably just Discord, TikTok. You can go on TikTok Live. I'm going to link it in the description. And yeah, don't duck. If you disagree, if you think he's multiversal, you think he's planetary, you think he's universal, come up and prove it. And I promise you won't. So maybe you don't want to waste your time. But do not ask me to text debate. I am not doing that. That is not a real debate. There's no such thing as a text debate, and everyone knows it. So yeah. Master Chief stomps.